my uncle used to play it, and while he was at work one day, I was staying at his house. I started playing his saved game, like second disc in or something, and I didn't realize what I was doing to his life, and he never played again after that because I got him to some weird spot, and he's all upset about it because I made progress and he didn't understand what was going on. So maybe that's why it's so impactful. Is like, man, I realize what video games are about now.
Shaman, yeah, Shaman. I hope you like a Shaman too.
Welcome, one and all, to Jamancast. This podcast is dedicated to celebrating video games and delivering video game news and interviews. I adore video games and love sharing that every week. If you stick around, I think you're going to have a good time. This week we have the What's News segment, where I go over the video game news for the week. And then my interview this week is with a man who goes by the name Totem. He's a fellow World of Warcraft classic Shaman player. He streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/totem_wow. He's part of the guild Fire Elemental Mafia, and his spec is Elemental. He's throwing out those thick, crispy ropes of chain lightning and delighting people with that sweet, succulent damage. I had a delightful conversation with him, and I'm excited to share that with you all. Before we get started, I want to inform you of a few ways that you can elevate your experience. I have a phone number you can call if you feel like joining in the conversation. The number you can call to leave a message is 949-407-9198. That's 949-407-9198. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Jaman the Shaman. You'll know more about what I'm up to and how you can be involved. I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Jaman. Let's get this podcast started. What's news, everyone? Welcome to another video game news segment for Jamancast. This week we're going to be talking about Blizzard, World of Warcraft, Riot Games, the Blizzard fiasco in the PR, and we'll talk about a couple other things. First thing I want to talk about. On October 12th, 2019, J. Allen Brack, the president of Blizzard Entertainment, posted an Inside Blizzard post on Blizzard.com. It was titled, Regarding Last Weekend's Hearthstone Grandmasters Tournament. He's attempting to explain Blizzard's standpoint when it comes to Blitzchung, the Taiwanese Hearthstone player who was punished last week when he yelled, "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Age," in a post-match interview live on stream. So his punishment was a year suspension, and he lost all of his prize money. The casters who conducted the interview, they were also fired for their, quote, their transgressions, I guess you could say. So Blizzard has been getting a storm of complaints, as well as people canceling their WoW subscriptions and uninstalling their games in response to this punishment. There have been internal Blizzard employee protests, and hashtag Boycott Blizzard was trending for a day or two. Blizzard also canceled an Overwatch Nintendo Switch launch event, and they say it's not in relation to this, but people have assumed it was due to PR and avoiding protesters at the event. So what exactly did J. Allen Brack have to say? And here's some quotes from the post. Our official esports tournament broadcast was used as a platform for a winner of this event to share his views with the world. Blitzchung used his segment to make a statement about the situation in Hong Kong, in violation of rules he acknowledged and understood. The official broadcast needs to be about the tournament and to be a place where all are welcome. In support of that, we want to keep the official channels focused on the game. He went on to say, the specific views expressed by Blitzchung were not a factor in the decision we made. I want to be clear. Our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. And that sounds nice. It sounds great to hear that China's had no influence on their decision to punish him. But I think that's a lie. I think it's a bold-faced lie, and it's really hard to hear that from Blizzard. I mean, it's the only thing they really can say, PR speak, but it really doesn't sound genuine. It sounds very disingenuous, and it makes me feel like Blizzard doesn't stand for the same ideals that it once did, if it ever stood for those ideals. I feel like the changing of the guard has shown its colors, basically. That without Morheim, without Frank Pierce, the company has lost its way. It's become too big. It's become too much of a corporation, and it's too worried about money as opposed to making good games and standing for what's right and what's a good thing. Of course, it's a corporation. People say what you can't stand for what's right, what's wrong. It just doesn't sound good right now. What they are doing, what you're hearing from Blizzard, doesn't sound correct. It sounds like money. It sounds like money speaking louder than what's the correct thing to do. So Blizzard went on to say, or J. Allen Brack went on to say, here's more quotes from this post that he had. He said, "If this had been the opposing viewpoint, delivered in the same divisive and deliberate way, we would have felt and acted the same." And I don't think that's true. Let's continue with what J. Allen Brack said. He said, "We reacted too quickly. He should receive his prizing. When we think about the suspension, 6 months for Blitzchung is more appropriate, after which time he can compete in the Hearthstone Pro Circuit again if he so chooses. We are setting the caster's suspension to 6 months as well." So they're pulling back on the punishment. Originally it was going to be a year suspension, no prize money. Now he gets his prize money and he's only gone for 6 months if he so chooses to play again. And the casters are not permanently gone. They're only gone for 6 months. J. Allen Brack apologized and noted they're changing Blitzchung's punishments to be more lenient. Obviously, he's getting his money back and he's only being suspended for 6 months. Blizzard is hard-pressed on making sure everyone thinks they're not in China's pocket. Here's the problem. Here's the real problem. The American University Hearthstone team held up a sign on Tuesday, October 8th, 2019, during the Collegiate Hearthstone Championship. The sign said, "Free Hong Kong, boycott Blizz." They were not punished for that sign, and they were allowed to continue participating in their next match. Following that, they forfeited their next match and withdrew from the tournament, stating that Blizzard should treat everyone equally, and it wasn't fair for Blitzchung to be punished, but not them. Blizzard came back a few days later, on the 16th, and gave them a 6-month ban to even things up. But the damage is already done. Blizzard wasn't fair. They doled out an inconsistent message, one that makes them look like access to Chinese markets is more important to them than human rights. It makes them look greedy, and it's very sad to see Blizzard transform from the good, beautiful company I grew up with into a multinational billion-dollar money-grubbing corporation. So that's just what's happening. That's the update for the whole thing. The American University team not being punished, and then they're like, oh, wait, yes, we're going to punish you. Obviously, it's a huge international corporation, and doling out the same punishment evenly, you could give them the benefit of the doubt and say, well, the Chinese side and the American side are not talking. Maybe they don't go to J. Allen Brack and ask him, what do you think we should do in this little moment for this team, for this thing, for every stream, for every punishment. Obviously, they can't be coordinated. It takes a couple days for things to happen. But on the other hand, it's an international incident, really, for Blizzard. It's crazy how much has gone on from just this one incident. And, if they hadn't done such an insane punishment, no one would be talking about it. But now everyone is. But would China really have shut down everything because of that streamer saying that and not being punished? He could have been punished. They could have said, all right, no more interviews for that guy. He's not going to come back. And that would have been good. That would have been good enough. He doesn't have to do any more. He doesn't get any more post-match interviews for however long. It didn't need to be as insane as it is, but it is. Whatever. That's what happened. That's the update. That's what's going on. And now I want to talk about something a little bit more fun, a little bit more joyous. Some people are saying that this is the takeover of Riot Games taking the mantle from Blizzard. But listen, Riot is also owned 100% by Tencent, which is a Chinese company. And they're known for being part of, for playing to the Chinese state. This Tencent is known for complying. Obviously, they probably need to make money, but it's just a known quantity basically that Tencent is a Chinese state. Understood. They're buddy. Okay, that's what I've heard. That's what's been going on the internets. That's the rumors. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about Riot Games. Let's get off China. Let's just talk about what Riot's doing. Okay. So during the 10th anniversary It was titled the Riot Please stream. Riot Games made a bunch of huge announcements regarding their future as a game developer. They announced 8 new projects. So they announced a fighting game, they announced a first-person shooter, they announced a card game, they announced an esports management simulator, they announced an animated series, and they also announced what seems to be an action RPG set in the League of Legends universe. And they also announced mobile versions of League of Legends and Teamfight Tactics. So the fighting game, let's just start off there, it's codenamed Project L. And working on the game for Riot is Tom Cannon. He's the EVO co-founder. EVO is the Evolution Championship Series. They're the largest and longest-running fighting game tournaments in the world. Okay? Don't expect anything too soon, though. It's going to be a while for Project L. A lot of these announcements were the same way. They were like, hey, here's what we're working on, but it's not going to be anytime soon. So Project L was the fighting game that Riot's working on. They showed Darius and Ari fighting in a desert. Very quick, not very much shown, but you got to see that. Then the next project, Project A, was codenamed Project A, obviously, is a tactical FPS that Riot announced. It seems like a friendlier version of Rainbow Six Siege with an emphasis on character abilities and highly lethal gunplay. Again, don't expect anything soon. It was kind of like a cartoony, almost like a Fortnite version of Rainbow Six Siege is what I got from it, is what I've heard about it. They also announced an esports manager. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an esports simulator where the player controls maintaining an esports organization. Players from real life will be featured, and revenue generated by the game will be shared to fuel the growth of League of Legends esports. And you can expect that to release sometime in 2020. There's the card game they announced. It's called Legends of Runeterra, and they're shooting for an even more accessible card game than Hearthstone. And they're attempting to ditch the booster pack model and allow you to buy the cards you want directly. And then there's another project, codenamed Project F, and it was talked about in their press release following the stream, and it's a, quote, project that explores the possibilities of traversing the world of Runeterra with your friends, end quote. The short clip they showed seemed to be an action RPG similar to Diablo, but it's hard to tell. We know basically nothing else about it other than the short clip they showed in the blurb in the press release. And again, don't expect anything anytime soon. So that's all for the new games they announced, but it wasn't everything. They also announced a new animated series titled Arcane. It's set in the League of Legends universe. The trailer they released is beautiful, and it makes me think about Blizzard. It makes me think about how Blizzard animation department, how many years people have been asking them to make a feature film or TV series. And seeing this animated series from Riot Games looks pretty good. Looks exciting to see Runeterra. Jinx is in it. A couple characters from League of Legends, what's going on there. They also said Teamfight Tactics and League of Legends are coming to your phone in 2020. So League will not be the exact same game as on your computer. It'll be a different version. They'll change it. It's going to be called Wild Rift to accommodate the switch to mobile. And then Teamfight Tactics will have crossplay with PC and be basically the same game. They also announced a number of changes for the future of both League of Legends and Teamfight Tactics. It's actually incredible how many things they announced during this 10th anniversary celebration stream. We'll see if all of them even come to fruition. Maybe some of these games will be canceled, maybe not. And the big quote from it is basically, they're going from one game and being Riot Game to finally putting the S in their name and actually becoming Riot Games. Okay, it's been 10 years. They're finally going to become Riot Games, which is their actual name, right? They're finally getting that S. The next thing I want to talk about is a game that came out this week. It's called Killer Queen Black. Okay, it was released. Killer Queen is a game I've mentioned multiple times over the past few weeks. It's a fantastic arcade cabinet that's been out since 2015. It's addictive gameplay, okay? It's fast-paced games along with the social setting of being able to interact live with both your opponents and your teammates physically. It's awesome. It's quite an experience playing on this arcade cabinet. So Killer Queen Black released this week for the Switch and the PC, and it'll be coming out in the future for Xbox One. the game translates amazingly well into a computer game. It's something I was worried about. Not having that social aspect of standing alongside your team is not as big a deal as I thought it would be. It doesn't feel the same when using the matchmaker to find teammates, because the setting does push that toxicity we all know online games have when the person you're talking to can't fight back. So I have had a couple people already yell, "Get off Queen, don't play Queen," whatever. Slightly things, nothing too bad, nothing too toxic, as I've said from other games. But you do have that moment, if you're not actually in person with someone, they can just, crap talk you or people, something you wouldn't see in real life happens. But playing with friends is some of the most fun I've had in a long time. Just shouting at each other, attempting to react to what the enemy team is doing, and carrying out your own strategy is highly addictive. It's so satisfying. It's different from the arcade cabinet version, too. Now you have weapons that need to be swung. Before it was like Joust, whoever was on top was the winner whenever you connected with someone. Now you have to press a button, okay? There's a button for attacking to make your character attack and with whatever weapon you're currently wielding. And it makes for some insane button mashing and adds a new layer to the game. Holding back on your attack, trying to bait them into attacking you and attacking back before their cooldown on their weapon is up. It's also added this ability to chuck the berries, okay? So the game is all about collecting berries. There's 3 ways to win, but collecting berries is one of them. And you can now throw the berries into the goal. So you can pass them to your teammates. You can peg enemy soldiers and queens with them in order to disrupt their movement. It just adds a whole new layer to the game that changes the meta and how you can approach certain maps and coordinated teams. Getting berries in can be faster than ever before with coordinated team effort. It's scary and awesome and wonderful. Killer Queen Black is a must-buy if you have 3 friends to experience it with, okay? If you can play it with friends, it's a must-buy. Now we're going to talk about the game that I've been talking about for weeks, but I come back to it every week. Classic World of Warcraft. Dire Maul came out this week, and it did not have the economic impact on the servers that people were expecting. I even said it last week that Dire Maul would have a huge impact on the economy, increasing gold inflation by quite a substantial amount. The Lasher farm of Dire Maul East is about half as effective as it was on private servers. The Dire Maul North run, tribute runs, are more difficult to solo than what private servers had, and these have made Dire Maul farming not as big a deal as was expected. Private servers didn't have everything right. What a shocker, right? Another thing I've noticed is mage water. Mages are going nuts for their new level 55 water that comes with Dire Maul. There's a quest line that must be complete for it. I saw mages selling their sharing of the quest and making it easier for people to complete it. And taking advantage of the new water demand. It's so nice, this water. It's almost 1,000 more mana over the same duration. It's kind of crazy how much this water changes what mages can do. I don't have to sit there and drink 2 waters anymore for 45 seconds. I can now drink 1 water and be done and filled up and ready to go for the next pool. Sooner, faster, better. It's really great. It cuts down on time, cuts down on downtime, makes everything better. And mages are going nuts for it. Like, people were sharing the quest. The guy was saying 5 gold to share the quest, 5 gold to share the quest. Because you get the quest from the West Dire Maul, but you have to go into East Dire Maul first to get the key. And then you have to go back into East Dire Maul to complete the quest. And you have to go back to West Dire Maul to turn it in. So people were sharing the quest for 5 gold, and they were getting money just to share the quest. It was crazy. Talk about it, economic impact that wasn't expected. I didn't know about that at all. So that's it, guys. That's everything. That's the What's News for this week. Now we're going to go over to the interview. I got an interview with a man from World of Warcraft. He's a shaman player, similar to me, but he's a elemental shaman player. He goes by the name Totem. You can find him on Totem_WoW on Twitch. So twitch.tv/Totem_WoW. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I had a good time getting it and talking to him, and I had fun, and it was interesting, the things he had to say. Here you go. This week's interview. Hello, listeners. I have another interview for you this week. This time I'm talking with a fellow World of Warcraft classic shaman player. His name is Totem. He streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/Totem_WoW. He's part of the guild Fire Elemental Mafia, and his spec is Elemental. He's throwing out those thick, crispy ropes of chain lightning and delighting people with that sweet, succulent damage. Welcome, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for the awesome introduction, man.
Of course. I just saw your stream and I thought, Totem, oh, sweet, dude. Elemental, I don't know if you're still Elemental, but a Shaman player is always exciting to watch.
Oh, I'm definitely still Elemental, and I'll probably be staying Elemental for a while until I get some cool two-handers or something.
Gotcha. The first question I want to start off with, and this is before we get into World of Warcraft and Classic and all that, it's more of a general video game question. What's the first game that you ever played that left an impression on you?
I mean, the furthest back that I can remember is probably Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII? Okay.
Yeah, that left the biggest impact on me. My uncle used to play it, and while he was at work one day, I was staying at his house. I started playing his saved game, like second disc in or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what I was doing to his life, and he never played again after that because I got him to some weird spot, and he's all upset about it because I made progress and he didn't understand what was going on. So
yeah,
maybe that's why it's so impactful. Is like, man, I realize what video games are about now.
That you find out you messed up his life and now he has to
yeah, basically.
You're like, I didn't realize I had this much power.
Yeah.
Was that on the PlayStation or was that on PC?
Yeah, PlayStation 1.
Yeah. There was 8 discs on it or something, or 4 discs?
There was three or four, maybe even 5. A lot, I remember.
Yeah, that was insane just thinking back on how many CDs you needed for that game.
Yeah, now you don't even need CDs. You just need a box with a code inside of it.
Yeah, the HD remake's coming out, and you're never going to have to see a CD for it. You're just going to
which is unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
You want those collections. I want to have collections. My uncle's a huge influence. He's always had collections of like his PlayStation games, whatever else he had before that, and he's just got a huge collection. I always went to GameStop and traded my things in.
Yeah, I remember moving as a young kid and just having just stacks of PlayStation 2 games and and realizing I don't even play PlayStation 2 anymore, and we have all these games. We have and I didn't.
I wish I had that.
Yeah, I don't have them anymore. I think we must have gotten rid of them at some point because I never got them once. But I remember as a kid having those. And then nice. Nowadays you just have codes, and then you have this sticker that you could keep. I guess you could have a folder full of old digital codes just to keep and show people.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you have your Steam library, which is, I don't know about you, but for me it's filled with tons of games that I never play.
Yep. Yeah, you don't get to see them stack up on a bookcase or something and be like, I've gotten all of these. I've played all these.
Yeah, or display them for when people walk in. You can't be like,
yeah, that's what I want them for.
And you don't even mention them. You just have this huge wall of games that you're just like, oh, that? Oh, yeah. Excuse me, sorry.
No big deal.
Did I leave that out? Oh, I'm sorry. Your Steam library is not that. Yep, they need a way to. We'll contact Steam. We'll get them. Give me a way to download posters or something for all these games.
Yeah, there you go. Or eventually we'll just have somehow chips in our arm that will let us show off our achievements or whatever.
Yeah. How big's your Steam library?
In real life? Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah.
You got trench coats that people open,
or Epic Game Library, I guess, because Steam is not. Is it going away? Is it staying?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, someone's gonna listen to this podcast in 10 years. Actually, that's not true. But if they were, they'd be like, Steam, Steam.
Yeah, what is Steam though? Yeah.
So when did you start streaming? When did streaming become a part of your video game identity?
About, I'd say 6 years ago, I started streaming Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And I would play long nights of that. I did on PlayStation too, without any OBS or anything, just straight live PlayStation streaming in Japan too.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in the military at the time. I was streaming during the night because I was on a midnight shift. So on my weekends, I would just stay up all night and play Call of Duty. So that started a while ago. Then I took a long break for about maybe 9 months to a year, and then picked up like private servers, playing on vanilla private servers, Burning Crusade private servers,
Gotcha.
and up to now, which I've been consistently streaming again for about a year and a half probably, because there's another break in between private servers, and then more private servers.
So World of Warcraft has been like, I mean, you had Call of Duty Black Ops 3, but then World of Warcraft has been the game you've streamed and played.
Yeah.
And did you play vanilla? Did you play original vanilla, or did you?
I did. Yeah, I played a human warrior, female warrior.
Oh wow.
Back in the day, yeah. I thought that back in the day I had trans or faction swaps, but I don't think that was actually a thing in vanilla.
No, I don't think that came
I don't know
until
if you remember.
either
Yeah.
Burning Crusade or Wrath.
Because I had a 54 undead warrior, or no, he was a 60 undead warrior. So I leveled a 60 undead warrior, then re-rolled and leveled another 60 warrior. But It was so long ago that for whatever reason my memory was telling me that I just faction changed. But I actually did the work to level out 2 warriors.
So you just like to punish yourself by leveling warriors.
Yeah, I guess I just saw the game differently. I didn't, leveling was all I really knew, and that game was fun to me just that alone,
Yeah.
without raiding and all that stuff. So I didn't mind too much, I guess, at the time.
Yeah, my warrior friends are all complaining about how hard it is to level, but I don't think they've ever leveled a shaman because I feel like I'm the exact same as a warrior. Like I have to sit and drink after every pool. I have to heal myself after every pool.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I have an ability
Yeah,
that heals me,
there's-
but like, it's not the same.
There's ways to like mitigate how much mana you're using, but then it's not as fun, right?
Yeah,
Like you could do the same thing with priests and just wand things down to death, and then just take forever to kill things, but you won't have to drink as much. Or you could just mind blast and mind flay and just plow through things. You just have to drink almost every fight.
yeah. I just feel like I spend so much gold on water.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you just find yourself a friendly mage, man.
Yeah, my mage friend, he's leveling still, so I gotta get him to. I wish you could COD Conjured Water, man. Just COD it.
Yeah, just phase out in the mailbox though.
So you started playing in vanilla. You played warrior. When did you switch to shaman?
Legion was the first time I played Shaman. I
Okay.
made Shaman and Legion, and
Did
just
you-
played arenas.
Did you play
nonstop.
retail all the way through? Have you been playing? The
Yeah, I
entire
played
time?
every expansion.
Oh wow! And did you ever have to take a time off, or was there any time that was like this is not a good game anymore?
Almost every expansion after Cataclysm and
Yeah.
on. Like Cataclysm, I took a break during, and then came back for Mop, and then took a break at later in Mop. I may have come back to Mop too. Like I would come and go
Yeah.
through those expansions, all the way, Cata, all the way up to Battle for Azeroth. I played for 4 hours and returned it,
Wow.
and got my sub money back. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's yeah, I believe it.
Couldn't get into it. Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah, I
only
got
gave it 4
I got
hours, but-
flying in it, and I was just like, why did I do this? Why did I even grind out all this XP? It was like I gotta get flying, man, because if I get flying, then I can finally play the game. And then I got flying, and I was like, I don't want to play this game. I don't even know why I got flying, because it was just it's all good. But yeah,
Yeah,
so-
a lot of it just seems very like minuscule tasks to just. They're doing great at giving people things to do, right?
Mhm.
But they just don't feel
Yeah.
worth it.
Some of the things I love about Classic that I've noticed is dueling like different people. I can throw on a different set of armor or gear, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden I'm like, oh, I actually have a chance against this guy now. Or like I can change.
Yeah.
If I know I'm going to fight a rogue, I can change my spec to be better against rogues. Or like, and like that much power over, like I'm still playing the same way. I'm still throwing out the same spells. But that much power over the RPG elements of my character, like building my character up, is missing in Battle for Azeroth. If I choose Elemental in Battle for Azeroth, I get Elemental. I don't feel like I have that ability to choose, like, oh, I'm going to go with like a haste. Let's go with some armor. Maybe like, oh, I need some more like I don't know. I don't feel that control of my character that I do in Classic.
Well, Shaman also, their talents are so they're just good all around, almost for any build you go. Like you could a lot of elemental talents are good for enhancement shamans, or rest of talents are just good in general for any shaman. Although there aren't very many like actual healing specific talents in Resto, which is kind of sad.
Yeah,
But
I
I've been seeing people with they've actually acquired like full resist sets to duel people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that, where they'll wear like full frost resist against a mage.
Yeah,
It doesn't really seem fair, but they win that way.
the classic dueling tournament that Tips Out is putting on, they just released their rule set, and you're not allowed to have more than 100 resistance to any specific spell in your gear set, and then
Wow.
other than shadow, you're allowed to have up to 200 shadow resist on your gear, but not more than that. Every other spec or every other element, you can only have up to 100 resist on your gear.
So weird, but it's because people are taking so much advantage of it, right? Like they're
Mhm.
just gonna get every resist set, and they can win those tournaments.
Yeah, just switch out all your gear every fight until
Yeah,
you have to fight a
yeah.
warrior, and then you put your armor on, and you're like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, right. And then what do you do?
Yeah.
There is no. You just got armor. That's it.
The best thing I've done against
Only melee
warriors
moves.
so far is throwing on a shield and putting Frostbrand on a fast one-hander and just trying to kite them and flame shock them. But as soon as they're on you, you're dead. And you got to keep that tremor totem down constantly to avoid their fear.
Yeah.
It's,
I just take the route of trying to outburst them. I just stand there and I put down a Nova and I just try to go.
you just try to kill them instantly.
Yeah,
And-
because well, the thing with a mortal strike, especially because if you just start healing, you're not going to out heal any of their DPS.
Right. And they can just shield bash or pummel
but
you.
other like if it's a prot warrior or even a fury warrior, you could probably get off heals and outlast them. But mortal strike seems really hard to deal with. It's just a race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing to do in World of Warcraft? Is it PvE? Is it PvP? Is it farming herbs?
I'm personally like PvP.
Yeah.
World PvP, yeah.
Are you
I
excited
haven't
to-
done much battlegrounds as a shaman, but I'm looking forward to that. I was thinking about going a rogue before I was going shaman, but playing a rogue in battlegrounds feels a little frustrating when you're always looking for more cooldowns and you're being rezzed so fast, and you always feel like you're missing a cooldown, especially when you actually need cooldowns to kill people as a rogue usually.
Oh,
Where
gotcha.
shamans, you don't have cooldowns, you got like 6 seconds and then you have nature swiftness or elemental mastery, whatever it is, and then if you go enhance, it's still another 8-second cooldown for whatever storm strike cooldown is.
Storm Strike's 20
So you're never
seconds.
waiting. Oh, 20 seconds?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, even then. So I think it's the biggest cooldown you're waiting on. And then
Mm-hmm.
even as enhance, I mean, are you ever going to get 2 storm strikes off in a fight?
The point, you're not supposed to. You want a Wind Fury proc and a Storm Strike, and they should be dead.
Right.
And if they're not, then
Right.
then you lost.
Yeah, and most fights I get into, what it seems like is it's usually held to like 2 to 3 shocks. Like that's the time limit people have before I just end up killing them with just shocks. Because the shocks do so much damage alone, and that's why so many elemental talents are good for enhance also, because a lot of enhance damage also comes from shocks.
Mm-hmm.
It's fat crits.
Yeah, I want the elemental tree with elemental devastation plus the 100% crit damage bonus.
Yeah,
And it avoided storm. That means I couldn't get Storm Strike, but Frost Shock ended up doing like at certain pools. If I crit enough, Frost Shock would do like 40% of my DPS on a fight. And then I got whispered by a warlock one time, and he said nice rotation, and he linked me the damage meters, and he was trying to figure out how I beat him because he had really good gear, and I was like, dude, I honestly as a shaman, and if I win the DPS meters just because I got lucky, I got crits, I got a bunch of flurry procs, I got a bunch of like elemental mastery procs, like I it's RNG. That's why I won. Like the next next pull I'll be so blown.
Right?
Yeah.
Elemental Fury. That's why like crit is so important, at least for PvP, because I mean that just turns the tide so much. It's almost like throwing 3 of the same spell because your crit is crit is doubled, right?
Yeah.
So that's I also that's why I also like Elemental Mastery over Nature Swiftness too, because even if I'm throwing another Lightning Bolt with like Nature Swiftness, if it doesn't crit, I'm only hitting for right now like 550 each Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Where if I just crit with one Lightning Bolt with Elemental Mastery, I automatically hit just about the same amount with just one Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, you get that. I can't wait to. I haven't tried it yet as an elemental, but I can't wait to throw a lightning bolt, chain lightning, and then shock someone all at the exact same second and see if they die. Because that full
Oh,
damage.
you do, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I have to get in, that. That's something I haven't done. I actually went resto recently because of all the PVE pressure, and getting into groups is so much easier.
Yeah, yeah. I'm there. Like I said, there's not much in there. Like there's for actual healing, there's like an armor and reduced cast time, but I mean that's only the first tier in, and then you're not getting actual heal. You get increased effectiveness of your healing spells by up to 10%, but that's 25 points into resto.
Yeah, it's a lot of like passive stuff. There's not very much
Yeah,
interactive
it's support.
stuff.
Like there's like some totem things and stuff, but I think that's what shamans are meant to do in PvE anyways, is support with their totems and stuff. I have found though, like 5-mans as elemental, it's pretty easy to top meters if they're shorter fights, AoE fights.
Yeah, I've noticed the same. I felt totally fine on short fights as an enhancement shaman, and also when we're fighting mobs that are only level 60, 61, and I can hit them without hit gear, and I can top damage meters. But once I start needing hit, and they start resisting my spells, and my melee attacks are not hitting anymore, my damage just plummets.
Right.
And then also the fights in Molten Core last long enough that I need so much mana. So I need to like bring a mana flask. I need to make sure I have the best mana potions so that I can constantly spam them.
I haven't even done Molten Core as DPS yet. So as Shaman, like enhancement or Ellie. Right now I'm actually 31 elemental, 20 enhancement. So I have elemental mastery and flurry with 2-hand spec. So I'd probably be playing more like an enhance in raids. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting, especially all like the dispel mechanics and stuff, and all the things that people are constantly doing. It's way different than retail, and I don't know if I realized that it's not exactly engaging playing Molten Core. I honestly can't wait for Battlegrounds. I can't wait for PvP to matter for me to actually feel like I'm doing something, because then I'll definitely go back to enhancement, I think, and elemental. But yeah, it's doing a raid of 40 people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's rough sometimes, and it's slow, and that's why I remember when I was playing vanilla back in the day, as as a 15-year-old boy or whatever. I hated raiding because I would go there and listen to explanations of fights for 30 minutes, and then we would wipe, where I could just go farm some honor, and I would get progress towards something, like guaranteed progress.
Yeah. And
where
a 40-man raid, you're not even guaranteed anything.
Yeah, you could go through the whole thing and spend hours in there and you get nothing.
Yeah.
I do like DKP systems though, occasionally. It's nice because you actually you earn something. Now granted, it requires you to actually get the loot to drop to and then still beat someone else with your DKP. But it's kind of like honor, it's like a player made honor system for PvE, which is not too bad. It's hard to do loot council with 40 people. And I think a lot of guilds might try to do it, but it's not. I think it's kind of probably not good for your guild if everyone's not on the same page. Like some guilds that started together and they know what's up and they know who's supposed to get everything already. Those guilds will do fine with loot council, but I think it's just hard to make everyone happy with loot council, especially with 40-man raids.
Yeah, I think the only real loot council I've seen so far in most of the runs I've done has been like, a certain guild will be like, all tank gear is reserved, everything else is main spec first, and then you just roll off.
Yeah, and pugs is a new thing too, right? Like,
yeah,
maybe there were pugs happening when I was playing vanilla, but I don't remember ever joining any. unless those were the molten cores I was doing. I remember doing molten core. Maybe I wasn't even doing it with my guild. I don't. I don't remember, man. It's so long ago. Did you play during vanilla?
No, I was leveling a mage when the portal opened. So I started during the Burning
Okay.
Crusade pre-patch.
Nice.
So I never got to experience actual vanilla until now. I never played on any private servers. Not because I was like for any real reason other than like I didn't know about them. Like I knew they existed, but I didn't like know where to go on the internet to find them.
Yeah.
So I just never like looked for it.
Yeah, people don't want to go out of their way. It's even if you know about them, it sounds like it might be a lot of work to like even have to go figure it out. And for people who don't know, they probably just don't think it's worth the time, right?
Yeah, it was like
And there's
private
people
servers,
who
isn't
know
that?
what's up?
Isn't there just going to be like one guy on that server who runs it who just like kills anybody he wants because he's God? Like, isn't that how it works? Like, if I had a private server, if I was running a private server, that's what I would do. I would just be like, yeah, I'm God now.
There's
And
stuff like that, yeah.
yeah, and so it was like this idea of like, what if I want to do it? Like, I'm just expecting to not have a good time because it's not like an official thing and anybody
True.
can ruin it. So it just that's another reason not to go. So it was one of those things I just didn't seek it out. So playing again now is just so amazing, and I'm just having so much fun playing classic WoW.
It is amazing, dude. It doesn't feel real to me because I've been playing it, right? And I kind of wonder what it would feel like right now if I hadn't been playing private servers. There's no way I'll find out.
Yeah, for me, it's just I don't know, man. It's just this return to like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Like talent trees are awesome. Like I can play with multiple specs at the same time. Like in retail, if I'm going enhancement, here's all my enhancement spells.
Yeah,
here's your talents. Like you're enhanced. Like you don't.
There's no fantasy to it. Yeah.
You don't cast heals. Like if you cast a heal, you're out of mana after, and mana doesn't matter at all unless you're a healer.
Yeah, it's just like some algorithm that's like, okay, enhanced shamans should be able to cast 3 heals before they're in, or something like that. That's all you get, and then you get crazy mana regen, so you have it back in a little bit, or it doesn't matter because you have an ability that regens it all right away.
Yeah, like pop feral wolves. I mean, there's a lot of cool spells. I'm not saying that retail doesn't have its own stuff.
Yeah, I like the way the classes play. It's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. It's way different. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then travel time and everything has made the game so it's a world again. And there was a post by I think Chris Metzen said that in classic World of Warcraft the main character is the world, and in retail he didn't say like then he didn't go on to say like and in retail it's not. He just like said like in classic WoW the main character is the world, and that's and I think that's just an amazing like fact. I think that's really true about this game.
Absolutely.
Classic WoW just yeah.
Yeah, I agree. No, you definitely, because you have to go everywhere. You have to run when you go group up for a strat run. You have to journey out there with your group and go out there and then like fight whatever is in your path, or not, or like wave at the opposing faction running by like a traitor.
I can't say that I've not done that. I've done that a lot. Or I'm just like, please, not right now, not right now.
yeah, right.
I'm not ready for it at the moment.
I ghost run so too often because I like PvP too much. I engage in fights that I know I shouldn't, just like one versus a couple, and I just get slaughtered over and over again. I'll res again, try to fight everybody.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you getting camped by people on stream a couple days ago.
I like to do that. It's fun.
Yeah, again, that's I mean, it's engaging to watch for sure. To see someone attempting to get out of being camped, watching you switch your camera around and trying to avoid the sniper. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a little game for me and for them too.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. For 5 hours at a time. It's a fun game.
Dire Mall's out now. Have you had a chance to go in there? And how do you feel about its release being so a little bit earlier than Phase 2?
I'm upset about the early release, but not because it's Dire Mall, just because it's early. Like I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Blizzard releasing content early for any reason. especially like they released it because people have nothing to do, I guess. Which I have plenty to do. Like I haven't even done Molten Core yet. Well, I did do a pug, but I haven't done it with my guild. I haven't done Dire Maul yet. I know it just released, but I play like 40 plus hours a week, and I know there's a lot of people out there who don't play as much as I do. So they probably haven't done Molten Core, or maybe they're just rushing and playing different than me, and they have done Molten Core, but still, people shouldn't feel rushed. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a mistake they made bringing out Burning Crusade. Was like they rushed out Burning Crusade, and not a lot of people got to do Naxxramas. That was a big old issue, right? So that's the last thing I want to see them do is release content early. And they didn't release all of Phase 2, so now Phase 2 is going to come out, and all that's going to do is release honor system, right? Which will be awesome for everybody. It's going to suck to be leveling in the 50s in Phase 2.
Yeah.
Because they're just easy honor. But other than that, it's just the dragons, right? World dragons, and people have already been doing Dire Maul for however long it takes till Phase 2 comes out. So then it just means that possibly an earlier Phase 3 than they originally planned. Like, we don't know what their first plan for Phase 3 was, but I'm assuming because they put out Dire Maul early, they're going to feel the same way about Phase 3. And maybe they won't tell us any more time frames just because people won't get upset. I don't know if there's a large majority of people mad about, early releases of content. I know there's probably a lot of people happy because I get it. If you play a lot and you do go through content fast with like guild and stuff, and there's not much to do. The one thing I will say that benefits me for Dire Maul coming out is that right now, or before Dire Maul came out, since I wasn't doing Molten Core, the people who were doing Molten Core had a wider gap of year difference from people who didn't do Molten Core, and now Dire Maul is kind of like that catch up. So even if I'm not doing Molten Core, I have the opportunity to be like closer geared to people doing Molten Core with the addition of Dire Maul, so that it does benefit me, not progressing as fast as everyone else, but at the same time, it just feels bad to see Blizzard do that, or Activision, or whoever made the call.
Yeah, I imagine they have metrics, and they're looking at number of level 60 players, and they go, oh no, it's dropping, release Dire Maul, throw it out there now, go.
Yeah, probably. I could imagine that.
It's
just, I know it's got to be hard for them to like decide, at what point do they like need to be worried about, people leaving? Like, did them bringing out Dire Maul boost their numbers again? I'm sure it did.
Yeah, the reports are that it did.
Yeah. Even if they waited a few months, like it would have probably boosted it still.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's also about the whole idea. I think you're, and tell me if I'm wrong, but imagine it's this whole idea that it's a game. Like, make the best game you can. Don't look at your subscriber numbers and say like, oh well, we need subs now. That's exactly what's wrong with retail. Is that it's built around generating subs and generating money,
people playing,
yeah. Which is not what Classic WoW was built for. I don't think it was built around
the players for the players or whatever, right? Like that was the thing.
Yeah, they loved MMOs, so they made the best MMO they could possibly make at the time, and it's still a wonderful thing.
Yeah, me personally, if I could, I would choose to like have the content come out as slow as it could possibly come out, because I am in no rush whatsoever. There's so much to do, so many things I want to get, and so many things I have to farm for like the entirety of the game, like consumables and stuff. So I'm in no rush. It just sucks. There's other people out there who have more time than I do, man. I just need more time.
Yeah, isn't it? That's true with life, right? Just need more time for everything.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything other than WoW that you're excited about coming out? Any other video games you're looking for?
The remake of Final Fantasy VII would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it.
Yeah. And it's so much video games. It's interesting. I've been doing this podcast and talking to people about video games, it's taught me that video game marketing, they don't really announce video games ahead of time. Like they do, like they announce them, but they really, you don't, it's how much hype there is when a game comes out. Just like looking at Classic WoW. Like the Classic WoW beta was out forever. There was people talking about it then, but there was no like visual marketing. There was nothing on like buses. There was nothing in magazines. There was nothing in like, newspapers, on YouTube. There was no ads being run. And then all of a sudden, the day it comes out, I mean, a day couple before, it just went like it exploded, and like it was everywhere. Like there was everywhere you looked, there was a Classic WoW poster and stuff. And
yeah,
so
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I asked these questions like, "Do you look excited for another game coming out soon?" And it's always like, I mean, there's Final Fantasy. Most people say Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's another one I've been waiting for forever.
Yeah, but that and again
now...
is just like the only. It's like the only one that anyone knows. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that game. That's good."
Yeah, but it's been in the works for so long now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not really looking for anything, dude, because
Classic WoW is satiating.
This is what I've been waiting for a few years, and I haven't been able to get away from it for 14 years, so I don't know if I will be able to for another game.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to playing more. I can't wait to see the AQ event with no layering on a official server.
Yeah, it's just crazy to like experience this again, because I was thinking about it the other day when I was playing vanilla as a like 15-year-old. Most of the people I was playing with were like my age right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like just traveling into the past or the future with the current game. Like it's just this is something that we've never really experienced before. So with like such a big game too, just re-releasing and then so many people coming back to it, or get to experience it the first time. Like there's 15-year-old kids playing World of Warcraft for the first time because they just like heard about it, just like I heard about it when I was 15 years old. I was like, oh, that sounds like a cool game. These kids like never heard about it probably before. Maybe they did, probably because of Twitch or whatever. But you know, when it really releases Classic, and they're like, oh, this game is like top on Twitch. Well, let me see what it's all about, and they go get their parents to buy it for them, and they play it for the first time with kids my age. With I don't know, man. It feels like a dream.
Yeah, I interviewed a guy a couple weeks ago. He's 17, never played World of Warcraft ever. His group of friends only plays like Overwatch, and they're all getting really. And I was like, "Are you excited about Classic WoW?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, man. All me and my friends are going to play Classic WoW, 16, 17-year-olds. And I was like, but why are you guys excited about a 15-year-old game? And it's like, dude, that's all we've heard about, and we just are tired of Overwatch. We need something new. We need something good, and it just looks amazing. Like, Classic WoW just looks great. I'm like, all right, cool, man. And
dude, it is. That's it. It is. It was. It will be like a game just like this. I think that the best thing we can get about Classic Classic coming out is that game companies figure out like what people enjoy, right? And then we get a brand new MMO that maybe can give us the same sense of whatever adventure. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just like the PvP.
Yeah,
I just like thinking about the kids on the other side of my screen crying and eating the Cheetos out of their belly button after I slay them, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that in any game, but there's just something special about WoW, and I think this is the first MMO I ever got to experience. I don't think it's just nostalgia, though, right?
I don't think so.
Because, like you said, this 17-year-old kid is super hyped about it. Who's never played it before.
Yeah, him and all his friends were excited. And they said they were playing, and it was a couple weeks ago. I talked to him, an update, and he said, "Yeah, we're all playing. We're having a great time."
Yeah, and I mean, people won't stay forever, right? But even if you get a couple good months out of it, like in these day and ages, you know, how long do you play any game for? Unless you really like, because competitive games people play a lot. You know, Call of Duty, League of Legends, like they play them for years upon years. But you know, I played The Witcher 3 for maybe, I would guess 6 months. Maybe that game was really fun. Red Dead Redemption, maybe 2 months. And I've spent like $60 to buy you know these games where you get a few good months out of WoW. It was a good game. Some people though, like they expect, just to be like, oh, I can't play WoW because I have to play it for 2 years or something. You don't have to do that. You can play it for a month and still have fun. It's $15, to play for fun for a month and have a good time.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't get to 60, but it's hard to play games like this with end game progression and stuff, and just be able to play it for like just level to 50 even, and think that's just going to be okay.
Yeah, it's just to I guess it's just the seeing your character get more powerful.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. I think the only problem I've had leveling, and the only time, and retail does this too, every expansion, it pisses me off when it happens. But leveling, your gear actually gets weaker as you level. So your agility you have at level 50, if you have whatever on your gear. By the time you hit 60, it's doing less crit. It's giving you less crit chance than it was at 50.
Yeah. Yeah. Scaling.
Yeah, and it upsets me. That's one of my biggest pet peeves with retail. Every time a new expansion releases, because I'm like a god at the end of the expansion, right? You're like you're killing the Lich King. You're like, oh, destroying everything.
Things phase out, right?
Yeah, and then you level 10 levels, and all of a sudden you're like struggling with green mobs, and you're like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, that's what's so cool about Classic too. Is like people are doing Molten Core until the very end. Like maybe not guilds that are farming Nax or whatever, they might not need gear from Molten Core too much, but like Molten Core doesn't just phase out entirely where it's just blown through. I mean, I think it will be pretty easy, and since we're already seeing pugs, we'll probably see pugs for Molten Core all the way through, and it'll only get easier. But I mean, Molten Core will always be done, where in retail, the last couple of experiences I've had is like you only LFG like a few of the older raids, even if they're from the same expansion. Like there's no reason to really do them other than just to boost your item level a little bit. And even sometimes you could just skip them entirely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're just like stepping stones to just get you to the game where it is at that point.
Yeah.
But Classic, it's always good. There's always something good. I mean, just it's usually because there's 40 people in a raid, and it's really hard to get all the things you want so easily and so fast. You have to spend a lot of time, and on top of that, just doing things as a group feels good in Classic. So even if you don't need something, it's still a good fun experience for the most part.
Yeah, my friend keeps asking me to do. He's like, I got to do this, and I'm like, I'll do it with you. And he's like, but you don't get anything for it. I'm like, who cares, dude? Right? Let's just hang out. Like, let's go. It makes it a big deal, and I'm game's amazing. I can't wait to keep playing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long, fun journey. That's and the weird thing is too is the streaming communities being a part of Classic WoW this time too, as opposed to back in vanilla. We never had like streaming communities or even really YouTube, like anybody having any sort of identity outside the game, right?
Yeah.
Where now we have these big streamers and all these. Now everyone's going to be like going to the streamer from their server, most likely.
And watching the like
communities there, yeah.
Like the events that are going on now.
Yeah, and events, like bigger events and stuff, right?
Yeah, like a Classic WoW dueling tournament, which is like this huge hype tournament from Tips Out and all these guys, and like. Is
that the $50,000 tournament?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I kind of wish I rolled on that server. I would have liked to take place.
Yeah.
Just try. You know. Even if I didn't stand a chance. I don't know how they're doing signups or whatever. If it's just everybody on the server.
I think they had like a
invitational.
Yeah, I think it was invitational, but it was also like tryouts to see if you can even compete. And then they had like a seeding bracket, and it's all been seeded and.
Okay. So everyone could try. Yeah, that would have been fun to do. I heard like paladins were banned or something.
Are they really?
I don't know.
Oh,
maybe I wasn't listening, but. For some reason, I heard no paladins.
I have no idea.
Maybe it's a different tournament.
Well, that's it. That's everything I got for you, man. I want to thank you so much for coming on and and being a part of this. It's always a delight to get another person just to talk to them. I mean, not just classic WoW video games in general, but classic WoW especially is so great. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed this as well. I like talking to people about WoW, because it's like one of the few things that I know anything about.
Yeah, at my work, I get a lot of crap from my fellow employees about talking about people about video games. Just to see, trying to see like, it's like someone was like, I went to lunch and I came back like at 5 minutes later than I should have, and they were like, "What, did you get caught up talking to someone about video games again?" And I was like, "Are you shaming me? Is this a problem?"
Yeah, it is though.
Yeah, it's glorious.
Nice.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone who's listening, go to twitch.tv/totem_wow and follow this man. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man.
Of course.
I will look forward to speaking with you in the future.
Yeah, sounds great.
Good luck on your shaman journeys.
Thank you. You too, man. I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast. I want to thank Totem for being here, for being part of my podcast, for joining me and delighting me with that conversation and that interview. I really enjoyed having you here, man. But that's everything I got for you today, guys. That was the What's News segment. We got the interview through. And now I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you stick around, though, for next week, because there's always more stuff coming down the pipe. So have a great night, have a great life, and have a great morning.